Hey everybody, welcome back to Full Blast Garage. And on this episode, we get the old 454 SS back on the road, hopefully. The recalled fuel pressure regulator from Holley has been delivered to us. The new one, the replacement. We're gonna go ahead in this episode, put the new one on and see if we got, correct fuel pressure and no catastrophic failures. Let's go ahead, put this 454 on full blast. Well, as you can see, we're not in the shop. Well, that's because, the old truck was disabled with the fuel pressure regulator out. So just kind of let it die under the carport out here. But to bring it back to life, we got to put the fuel pressure regulator back on. And I do want to give an update. So since I was notified in May of that recall, haven't had any communications from Holley, but they did send in the mail. It's the same PDF that I posted in the last video, outlining all the issues, what to look for in the recall. So if you do have one of these regulators, look for a mailing, probably mailed to wherever, you had your parts shipped to. I do want to give Holley a little bit of a shout out. When I called, to do the return process, I spoke to a human, very, very pleasant people in customer service. I did submit, the picture of the embossed Holley imprint on the back of the regulator. And that's kind of what they were looking for. If you don't have the box, the caps, everything else that's in the recall, that's the kind of one dead giveaway that you got a recalled regulator. The moment, that they emailed me the UPS return authorization, you box it up, you recall, you ship it off, then you inform customer service that it's in the mail. And at that point, they will release your new part to you and ship it to you. So it was in total like a 3-4 day process for me to take it out, drop it off, let them know, and then me to get my hands on the new part. So, I don't know how better you could do something than, the turnaround they did for me. I guess you could have, next day aired it, but, this thing, I didn't need it immediately. And if I did, I would have put a different regulator in it just for those purposes. But, I do want to thank Holley for at least taking care of the product. I know I read in some comments in the last video that, there were some issues with these regulators, the diaphragms inside failing and then flooding the engine with fuel. So man, if you have this one, you need to go and look at it and check and see if you're a recall or not, because that will hydrolock your motor real quick. And then bent rods, busted pistons, bent valves, who knows? And you could have prevented it by just, shutting it down, looking at the back of your regulator. But I'm going to go ahead, start working on this thing, show you guys what you got to do to put it back in. And then let's test it, make sure we're getting correct PSI readings and everything on it. This Quadrajet that I run on this one's a little bit of like a performance unit. So you can run it 5.5, 6 PSI and you're fine. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for on this car. All right, folks, if y'all have never installed one of these, it's very simple. You got your adjustment up top. You got your ports on each side. They can be in or out, the two side ones. Bottom port's your return. Got this port, 1/8 inch port in the front, and that's where I'm going to thread my gauge into. So on this regulator, if you want to increase it, you're going to need to thread this in, and it's got an Allen head top. So screw it in. I already loosened my adjustment screw, so when it's running, I can go ahead and make my adjustment. And what I like to do is make this adjustment while the car is running. I know I have an electric fuel pump, and it's going to give me a certain PSI, already here adjusted at this regulator. But I want to see when fuel's running to the bowl of the carburetor while the truck's running, is it maintaining the same pressure? I'd even gas it a little bit, put a little bit of load on it, and just see if it dips, because that's an indication that you might need to just up it just a hair. But yeah, you want to go ahead, use thread sealant. I'm using just regular Teflon, you know, on all these. If not, you're gonna leak. You can use liquid. You can use, you know, just the regular old Teflon tape, like what I'm doing. And it's a good practice. I'm left-handed, so this kind of feels weird, but take your fitting in your right hand and your tape in the left, and then spin it. So what you're doing by Tefloning it this way is you're putting the tape on the same direction that you're gonna thread it on to the regulator. So as you're twisting this into the regulator, the tape has been turned the same direction. So if you threaded the tape on the opposite way and you're spinning it to the right and your tape's threaded on the left, your tape's fighting against the threads, and it'll want to actually push the tape off. I mean, that's just kind of an old guy tip there from people that have threaded I don't even know how many fittings into these pipe threads. But yeah, just go ahead, get this guy started, and I'm gonna tighten these down with a wrench, and I just get them as tight as I can go. I mean, don't smoke them on, but you want them pretty dang tight, because this is fuel. Don't want any leaks back there. I'm gonna go ahead, get the other two on in my gauge, and I'll start putting this regulator kind of back in its little spot in the back. All right, well, it's kind of tough to see back in here, but I'm gonna be wrestling some hoses on. And I got these fuel injection style hose clamps. This truck still runs the TBI fuel pump. It's pretty low pressure. You can get by with regular hose clamps, but I'm kind of just of the opinion, if I got them, use them. And if you don't, just use whatever you think's gonna work. So I'm just going ahead and putting my hose clamps all on and kind of in an orientation that I can get to with my ratchet. And I also do have a couple Phillips heads here just in case. So every now and then the old ratchet won't get exactly where you need it to go. So there is a mount that I have back here on the firewall, and you're gonna want to at least have this mounted somewhere. You don't want it dangling. And there'll be a screw that I screw in from the bottom to really secure it to this mount, because you could, I guess, just have it sit here, but it's gonna wiggle around if you don't have it mounted. All right, almost there. Just trying to get the old return line snaked up through the hole here. And these are a tight fit. I wanted good quality fuel hose and not anything I'm gonna have to worry about, because this thing does actually get quite a few miles put on it. All right, and I'll grab the camera and give you all a little bit of a close-up there. All right, this is kind of where the old regulator is gonna live, and I got a good view of the fuel pressure gauge. And I will come in here, go ahead and tighten up my 3 hose clamps and get, these screws are not super easy. You can kind of see when I raise this thing up. See the hole there in the bottom of the mount? You're just kind of blind trying to thread it up into the body of the regulator, but definitely put those in. You want a real solid mount for your regulator. You don't want it just bouncing around. But I'm gonna go ahead, get these hose clamps tightened up, and we'll start this thing, or at least key on, see what kind of fuel pressure we're dealing with, and then try and start it. And this thing's been sitting here a while, and she's dry, so it might take a few cranks to get her going. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that, and I'll pick back up when we're doing key on. Okay, so let's key on the truck, check for leaks. Fuel pumps definitely kicked on. It kicked on and kicked off. We're probably gonna have to do it a couple times before we get enough fuel pressure built up to show on the gauge. Well, let's just give it a crank. Okay, we got an idle. Got a little bit of a noisy pulley under here, but it'll calm down once we get a little bit of heat into the engine. So it's looking like I'm kind of close to 6 psi. No fuel leaks, no smells of fuel. I do not have the regulator mounted. The bolts that screw up from the bottom, the threads are all marred in the body of that fuel pressure regulator and they won't thread in. So Holley needs to work on that. That's still an issue. But we got good fuel pressure. Not bouncing around when we throttle it. I'm gonna let it sit here and run for a minute and I'll double check the fuel pressure. Well, say let's go ahead and test drive this thing. See if we got all the fuel pressure we're supposed to.
Got that Corvette servo, feel that second gear shift, about breaking that. Well, running good. Back to business, folks.
Well, hope you guys have enjoyed another full blast garage video. We got the 454 SS back up and running again. No issues with the fuel pressure regulator other than the 2 holes that, you know, the frame support bracket attaches to it. They're both, the threads are real marred up in it. I couldn't get those to work. So zip tie for the save. I guess that's just how it's gonna be. But other than that, things seem to perform flawlessly. The return process through Holley, I would say, was about as good as it gets. I mean, these days, we spoke to a human, we had the part 3 days, you know, and it seems to work, other than you can't bolt it to anything. But hey, you can't get everything these days. Just be happy with what you got. But I hope all y'all liked, you know, the footage of this truck. And just take a moment to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We got a whole bunch more content coming. I got 4 or 5 other projects in the works. So, you know, I hope y'all liked it. And until you see me again, man, just go out, do something that makes you happy. And if you're going to do it, definitely do it on full blast. I'll see y'all later.